too.
So last week, Health Secretary RFK Jr. was in the hot seat of a Senate committee hearing where both sides of the aisle were took him to task on how he's running things. Take a look.
You also told Senator Wyden at the outset that you didn't want to take vaccines away from people. I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Senator Cantwell.
You're wrong.
In your confirmation hearings, you promised to uphold the highest standards for vaccines. Since then, I've grown deeply concerned. Could you explain what steps you're going to be taking to ensure vaccine guidance is clear, evidence-based, and trustworthy?
We're going to make it clear, evidence-based, and trustworthy for the first time in history.
You are putting America's babies' health at risk, America's seniors' health at risk, all Americans' health at risk, and you should resign.
He's got a different take, and we want to listen to all of those takes. But I heard he did very well today.
Some are calling for RFK to resign. Others say we should re-examine our approach to health and public safety. But I do want to point out some things. RFK Jr. said he did not know how many Americans died from COVID deaths, something he said people did. He said he didn't know that more than 1 million Americans have died from the disease. This is what he says. He did not, well, I'm not sure what this is saying.
He didn't know the number of people who died from
Right.
COVID, which I think most of us remember it was over 1 million. When we hit that million mark, it was like catastrophic.
But not from the
vaccine.
vaccine. And this is what he was saying.
Well, he was saying that more people died from the vaccine than from COVID,
and I'm
that
saying,
is very dangerous.
how many people died from the vaccine? He had no answer for that.
No.
He didn't have an answer for either question.
Well, he also canceled $500 million in mRNA research.
Yeah.
He's falsely claimed that mRNA COVID shots are the deadliest vaccines ever made. He fired all 17 advisors on the CDC vaccine committee and he's handpicked people. He just went and got people off the street.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, because none of them seem to know anything.
They don't have medical background.
They don't have.
But I read that he actually vaccinated his own children.
Of course he did. He wanted them to be okay.
Yeah.
I think the problem here, when you talk about him, is he seems to approach from his hearings on this idea that I'm not going to make anyone take it. I want it to be an individual choice. The problem there, as we're watching people address whether these vaccinations for kids are going to be mandatory, is that, I'll just use one, for example, measles. You need 95% plus coverage or herd immunity doesn't work. Happens to be also the most deadly disease to the school-age kids. It will be the fastest outbreak we see. We had it when I was pregnant, and I was born in a time where they didn't give you the second vaccine. So I had to wait till I had the baby. And before the pandemic, my doctor was like, you can't be around people. And I had to lock in because it can kill a fetus. So I don't think people understand right now that this isn't about choose for yourself. This is protecting kids. The reason there were ever mandates is it used to be such a common part of childhood to die from these diseases that they mandated.
It should be public policy. That's why you have government people in positions of power.
Who know what they're doing.
He's not a doctor. I mean, I went to get a COVID shot while I was on vacation, and they told me I needed a prescription. Since when? Do you know? I've never had that before. The guy, eats roadkill out of his freezer. I have to listen to that. By the way, this is an issue that I think could bring him down. Or the whole
RFK Jr.
Yeah, the whole, and also Trump. Here's the reason: this affects everybody. It's not like just a bunch of people who are immigrants and they're going to, round them up and throw them out and all that stuff. This is everybody in the country.
I agree that this would be catastrophic proportions. And for me, as all of you know, it's very personal because my husband's parents died from COVID. One died December 28th, the other died 3 days later, January 1st.
It's just so hard. That's terrible.
Such a horrible loss for our family that we still feel today. We feel it at Christmas. We feel it at Thanksgiving. There were empty seats at my table. And so the notion that people can't access vaccines, I know will lead to death. I know it. And this misinformation that he is providing is such a disservice to children, seniors, everyone. This is anecdotal, but my aunt, she's over 65, she's a retired teacher, she has certain health complications. She went to CVS and Walgreens and they denied her vaccine.
Yeah, that's right.
They denied her vaccine, saying they wanted a prescription. Yeah. But I will say this, on the bright side, I think we need to start getting our information from other places because we know we can't trust RFK
Like
Jr.
where?
and we can't. So California, Oregon, and Washington are to launch the new West Coast Health Alliance to uphold scientific integrity in public health as CDC's credibility is destroyed.
Yeah.
Governor Gavin Newsom, who's been trolling the heck out of Trump, he issued this joint statement with Kotick and did I pronounce that correctly? Kotick, he's one of the governors. And Ferguson, he said that Trump's mass firing of CDC doctors and scientists is a direct assault on the health and safety of the American people. The CDC has become a political tool that increasingly peddles ideology.
But to your question, where do we get medical advice from? I think you have to go to your trusted physician. Yeah. You certainly don't take it from a guy who's had a worm eating his brain.
Exactly.
Listen, well, you know, this to me is particularly alarming because I live in Florida. And we saw the Surgeon General, the Secretary of Health in Florida, Dr. Ladapo, come out and not only echo what RFK said, but go a step further. They are now making vaccines in schools in Florida optional. And all of this noise that's happening around vaccines has such an effect. I was with a friend who is a pediatric radiologist, and he was telling me that newborns are born with low vitamin K. They give them a shot. It is modus operandi. It is ho-hum, so that because vitamin K allows you to do blood clotting. Yes. Parents are now choosing not to give their newborns vitamin K. So he is seeing children with brain bleeds because of the choice. And it's because of this skepticism. And Dr. Ladapo in Florida said something which I think we're gonna listen to.
The Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery.
Why does he have to make that comparison to slavery? This is a man who was born in Nigeria, where millions and millions of people were brought to cross the Atlantic in shackles and taken to slavery. Stop relitigating slavery in this country, damn it. Stop comparing it to anything else.
In this instance, too, what's interesting in Florida, they actually have a lot of sort of outs for people who want their choice. You can homeschool your kids so they're not put into a public environment when they're not vaccinated where they could harm other kids. There's religious exemptions. Those are things that I think if you're on this side of I want some kind of choice around that, that makes sense. The idea of public health, though, is you do it for the greater good. You do it to protect vulnerable populations, the elderly, pregnant women, children. That used to be something we all just sort of agreed to. And what's interesting to me is a poll came out ahead of that RFK hearing that showed the vast majority of Trump voters support vaccines and think they save lives. More than 75% of them. Wow. Donald Trump, I will say this any day of the week, his single greatest accomplishment was Operation Warp Speed and helping get the COVID vaccine. And why he still runs away from that will never make sense to me.
Why does he do that?
So I have a theory on this. I think he loves that RFK is a Kennedy. He likes to say, I've got a Kennedy in my cabinet.
And
I've got one of the most famous Democratic families. And he chose the one that every Kennedy has denounced.
The whole family is
They've all denounced him.
People are playing.
Kooky Kennedy, not
People are playing. They're playing Russian roulette with the lives of children. Let's start with the kids.
Yeah.
Let's start with children. Because any school, anytime you go to a school, it is who knows what's in there?
A petri dish.
They sneeze, everybody gets sick.
Yes.
You think you're dying, but you're not. You just got hit by kid stuff.
Yeah.
But we know that this happens. There are reasons that people put these mandates in place. Yeah. Now, you want to get rid of all of them. You're basically saying, let's see what happens if your kid goes to school with other kids.
And what about the teachers in the school?
And your grandparents, you know, who are elderly, are in with your grandkids. So now you're saying y'all don't care.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
But why did four doctors, 4 MDs in the Senate Congress voted to put this guy through?
Yeah.
And I think
Bill
they're regretting
Cassidy,
it
Bill
now.
Cassidy, who should know better, John Barrasso, who is attached at the hip to McConnell and Trump, he voted now against, he wants RFK to stop and get out, and Roger Marshall and Rand Paul.
Well, he
they
told
should know
Senator-
better. These
he
are
told-
MDs.
I
He
think
told
he misled
Cassidy,
them.
though, he
All
said, I won't
confirmed.
touch the vaccine.
He did lie at
said
his hearing.
that.
And I will
they-
tell you who knows better, Mitch McConnell, who
'Cause he
had
had
polio
polio,
as a
polio.
child.
Yes,
Well,
but
yeah.
you know
So
what?
you have to have the
they
disease
all
to know
made a
it better?
decision.
God.
They all made a decision to follow a road that has a 9 million foot drop.
Yeah.
And now, as people are starting to drop, they're going, oh, damn.
And so close historically to COVID, it doesn't make sense. We all remember the
None of
pandemic.
this makes
resign.
any sense. So,
him out.
again, as Joy suggested, as we're all suggesting, you have to now go to your One Medical or whatever the equivalent of that is,
Go to that
and
new
see
West
what
Coast
you
Health
can
Alliance
do.
website.
Well, see if we can get one on the East Coast.
Yes.
Because we have different things going here. People have different needs.
My understanding, by the
All
way,
of-
New York is going to do it as well.
As well they should.
Yeah.
And all of these things, these are things that you can control. You can't control a lot of stuff that's happening. But these are the little things that you can take in hand and grab and say, I'm not putting up with this BS. I'm just not going to do it. This is on us. This is what we're learning. Our government, I don't know where they are, but I know where I am. You know where you are. And it is now our responsibility to take heed to what is going on in our lives.